We left the Haudenosaunee off in 1576, with many new technologies and ideas entering the kingdom through the bustling trade center in Mannahatta. Having survived the Great Pestilence relatively unscathed, the realm lies ready to consolidate and adapt to its newfound place on the Atlantic stage. Picking up where we left off here, I saw quite a few suggestions in the comments of the last part. Apparently you can steal maps from the SOPs, so we might do a little bit more of that today. Also, allegedly you can vassalize them. Not sure how that works out considering they don't actually own territory, but we can give that a shot as well. On top of that, we have also updated to the new 1.0.8. I think it's actually 0.9 now update, which means of course our centralization is kind of over. All of our subjects are going to be kind of like permanent loyal, at least until we fix our decentralization. Some people wanted me to move my capital closer to one of these rivers. I think the one they had in mind would have been this one probably, which I could see why. That makes sense. I do kind of like the balance that I have between these two rivers, where if I move my capital here, then we lose like 30 proximity getting to this river. And if I move it here, of course, we lose 30 proximity getting to the other river. I don't know. I kind of like it where it is. Anyway, that's kind of where we're at for the time being. So long as Britain is still friendly with us, we should still be fine for the most part. We have a good number of institutions, a lot of them still actually coming into the port of Mannahatta. And then of course they're spreading rather quickly back to the capital. We spent a lot of time building the economy. I think what we want to spend more time doing nowadays is just spending money to embrace institutions. For the most part, we just have to get that monthly research progress as high as possible. I think the way that I'm going to start colonizing from now on actually is going to be more so along the coast than inland. So if I'm going to steal some maps, it's going to be mostly of coastal areas, and this is South Carolina, I'm sure. Okay, let's start setting up some more colonies along here. I think because of the changes with centralization to decentralization, we're actually going to swap out this policy, and we are going to pick up black chambers for extra outward and innovative. This wide network construction also just kind of helps us a little bit with how we're going to steal maps from people. Okay, we can see Britain has definitely gotten to Hudson's Bay, sort of wrapped down to the south. Not much we can really do about that, and obviously we're not going to fight a war with them, that's for sure. Yeah, absolutely not. Alright, we have every institution we can embrace right now. The rest are taking some time spreading from Mannahatta to the other ports, and then along from the ports to the capital as well. So we do have some time to wait on those. In the meantime, we can start expanding our iron production, at least in theory. Of course, we're going to have to wait for all of these to be able to actually employ themselves. But iron is going to be a massive boost to our economy, now that we don't have to rely on stone to make tools anymore. We have a little more money than we can use. Despite the tax base going down, I've done my best to fight the declining tax base. Of course, we are almost completely out of centralization, so proximity is quite a bit harsher than it used to be. Oh, right, I was supposed to install a mod that shows me where rivers are. Hold on. There we go. Now, if I want to look at the roadmap mode, we can see the rivers now. And if we want to move our capital to, like, say, here, for example, which would be a good idea, I think, we'd get some proximity traveling all the way down along this river and all the way down these rivers. Well, actually, they would travel sort of here, and then this is kind of upstream, actually, so it wouldn't really make too much of a difference. Main point is we get some good proximity through two of these rivers. For now, I think we're going to try and create sort of a modernized corridor of urbanized settlements along these areas. We'll start with this one just because, you know, Mannahatta is also really important. And then when this corridor is built up, we might swap over, start building like over here and then into here. I do find it kind of interesting that these societies of pops have so much vision compared to ourselves. Like, there are SOPs over here that can see all the way down into the Gulf of Mexico. We ourselves haven't even discovered that. Okay, we have urbanized this corridor. I think what I'm going to do is just build up a bunch of libraries and temples in these areas first. We'll drive up the demand for certain goods while also increasing literacy and institution growth. Now, of course, because we have fully decentralized, we don't have as much crown power. And this has led the estates to becoming a little too powerful, in my opinion. Fortunately, because we're super decentralized, now our burghers and commoners and, well, actually all the estates are much happier. In fact, I'd say they're a little too happy. Building roads rights for the burghers is fine, except that I don't usually see them building roads anyway. And in fact, I think I'd prefer if they don't just build roads, because I know what roads are best to build, and I think I'd rather just have them build buildings. They only have so much money to spend either way, right? Now we can also embrace global trade, funny enough, way before any of these other ones. We've discovered bureaucracy. We're just going to hardline decentralization. Also, I like monthly prosperity a lot more than I used to, because prosperity now is actually a balance meter. It now decays, much like prestige or stability. So a 0.25 bonus is actually pretty noticeable. We can start picking up some institutions again. We will start with New World, actually, because we would very much like to be able to explore in open sea. It's the one place where SOPs don't really have vision, and I think it's necessary for us to be able to trade with Europe. We have to be able to reach them across the ocean. I've also heard apparently you can vassalize these SOPs, so we're gonna give that a shot. It occurs to me also that my subjects, they might be idiots, actually, now that I really think about it, which is kind of a shame. Yeah, they're not really building anything in particular, which kind of sucks. I think I kind of understand why, though, because if I settled these, then these RGOs start at a level of 0, which means that they make no money, and because they don't make any money, they can't actually build anything which would make them money. I'm kind of seeing the problem now. Okay, so I'm gonna give you guys like 1 RGO. We'll do a little bit of, I don't actually know what it's called. Investing in areas that are usually poor so that they become less poor and more self-sufficient. I think there's a term for that. I can't remember it though. Wait a second. These SOPs know a lot more than I thought they did. Like, why do you know about all the way down here? This is crazy. I feel like maybe they just shouldn't have these. Now, I've been doing a lot of colonizing down here, trying to block off the east coast. I'm not entirely successful. Denmark is kind of making their way into here. I'm just not too sure what I want to do with this territory. Because, of course, eventually I'm going to build ships and trace proximity sort of like down here maybe to increase maritime presence and make sure that we can spread our proximity here. We're gonna make like 2 big subjects here. That's what I'm thinking right now. And then we'll integrate those subjects once I actually have boats. So this would be an excellent spot to create a subject, just have their colonial capital in here. And the second one is gonna have their capital in here. Well, in theory, they're gonna move their capital to here. It should be one of the best spots. With subjects, they do funny things. Now we can actually make fiefdoms though, so that's quite nice. Oh, new king. A lot of things just happened actually. We actually are still in a marriage union. Sure, okay. We'll keep the capital where it is. Now, let's keep embracing those institutions. With printing press, of course, we can go down here and grab paved roads. That's super important. Now, as for the CB that we're making, how does warfare with these guys even work? We go to war, of course, we'll raise like, not that many, like a few levies. We probably don't need that many. And who are we actually at war with? Nothing in particular. Okay, good start. We are at war with this SOP right here, which is these guys. Oh, hold on. An army, a singular army. Where do they go? Just 12 people. I don't know how we're going to catch up. There's nothing to siege. They do have an army. We have no idea where they are. I guess we just kind of wait for them to show up. That could be. Oh, there we go. Okay, so we've won the battle. They have no troops, nothing to siege. Oh, we have a subjugate natives thing here. Okay, so it changes them to Haudenosaunee. This is so weird. Okay, can we change their religion as well? Because otherwise we can't really do much with that. Yes, we can force convert them. Maybe. It kind of depends on a lot of things. But if we can force convert and change their culture, then in theory we can just click the colonize button and immediately take that stuff. We can just take their stuff, release them as a vassal. Now, to be fair, I mean, this is just a trial. This area has literally 78 people in it. The population is so small that we could just colonize it in like maybe a few years. Yeah, I don't think there's actually much value in this, to be honest. It's cool that we get to do that. We get to have like a battle because they keep on raising people. I guess this is how we win. Just sit here and wait. Yeah, this is incredibly tedious, actually. Okay, never mind. This is not worth my time. Let's just keep on embracing institutions. And you are moving your capital to here. Okay, man. I mean, you get iron. I guess it makes sense in the short term. Just please eventually move it. It's like how this guy has his capital here when really it'd be a lot better to have it in this location. It has so much more tax base. It's a better harbor. I don't really know what they're doing. Subjects, everybody. Now, I've kind of just been spamming towns out at this point, doing a lot of promote urbanization. Like, oh, this is 41% control. That's okay, it's going to be a town. We're just going to maximize our urbanization. If we can, of course, because my parliament agendas are just not that helpful. Next institution, we'll go with confessionalism. Now we have completely caught up in institutions. Our average literacy is around 25. It'll get to around 25, I think, which is actually really good for 1597. Ooh, also, I don't think so. They're trying to colonize over here. Nope. You thought I wouldn't notice. We now have additional colonial range. Actually, I'd like to know. No, Britain is still outside of our diplomatic range. Okay. So we can't steal maps from anybody that would actually tell us, like, where we are. Of course, we can't build a spy network in these colonial subjects. Can't build a spy network in the overlords either, so we're kind of stuck. We do have to explore over here. We're going to make another subject over here. Another fiefdom, of course. You know what, actually? I lied. We're going to make a third subject. Oh, let's go. My favorite parliament issue. Oh, okay. You know, I was just about to make a joke about how the actions of the Danish are concerning me quite a bit. Yeah. Hey there. You wouldn't happen... You would happen to be very bribable, actually. I have a better idea if you're willing to accept this, actually. Do you want, like, a humiliate? Can I give that to you? Oh, you don't want that anymore. Ah, shoot. Okay, war reps. What if I just don't pay you war reps, actually? They wouldn't accept it. Okay, fine. You want war reps? That's cool. Have fun. Okay, we don't really like getting bullied by the Danish, even though, yes, we only have to pay them. It's not a big deal. But I would still like to not pay them. So, we're going to start researching a little bit. We'll pick up some barracks, and then we'll get arquebusiers, and then gun workshops. Ooh, we could rival Denmark. I don't know if I want to do that. They do declare war on us pretty consistently anyway. You know what? Yeah, screw it. Why not? The reason we have no prestige is because we have no rivals, and that's kind of a problem. So maybe that's the first step. Oh, a unique event this far into the game? Okay. Oh, I think it's because we rivaled Denmark. Adhere to the Ground Council. We lose some crown power. Okay. Or we get some crown power. Actually, we're just going to take the top option. I think the biggest problem we're having trying to race the Europeans to colonizing is simply that we cannot do that. They are faster than us. I try to colonize the East Coast. They literally flank around me. This is kind of disgusting. What we're going to do is get flintlock levies, and then I think reasonably we could march down south and just take this colony. And maybe take this one too. Of course, I want to actually build roads for the first time in a while, and we just don't get the parliament debate. That's neat. Okay, we will actually intentionally fail this to push more towards the land. The problem actually is that our ruler has a naval trait which is pushing us towards naval. This kinda sucks. I think I do actually want to move the capital here. I'm going to build a road that goes into here, and then once we have the money, a road that goes into here. Now, when deciding where to move the capital, we're kind of faced with a choice here. Since it's so expensive, I am considering it might be better to go with the move down here, even though up here would give us better access to the more urbanized areas. Yeah, for the sake of long-term planning, I think this is our best shot. Let's just make sure that we connect things up in a way that makes sense. So of course, we're going to build up a road here, build up another road like this once we have the money for it. Okay, new capital. Of course, the old capital still has 100 controls, so nothing really changes there. All right, whenever we move the capital, we do have to rebuild the capital buildings. Kind of a good thing that we do that now, actually, because that can get really expensive. Now, our new capital, of course, deserves to be a proper city, and alongside that, I have researched the Pound Lock canals, which I don't think we would have been allowed to build in here. That should help reduce the proximity cost. I think the AI has developed some method of colonizing even faster now. We can no longer stop them from entering into this area. Right now, my focus is on getting enough trade and colonial range to actually reach Europe. We're starting to explore a little bit of the British Isles, but I think we only have one actual location that we can explore from, and that's this one. Eventually, this will not suffice for us to see all of Europe, but once we're done with that, maybe I'll try to figure out some kind of increased settler growth, probably colonial policy. We've managed to raise 1 unit of arquebusiers. I would really like to create a CB against Denmark to take their colony, but I don't think we can, just because we can't build a spy network. They're too far away from us. But at least this 1 unit should hopefully discourage them from invading us again, especially now that when we do the little comparison here, we are actually considered stronger than Denmark. I wonder why that is, actually. Denmark is remarkably weak. Oh, you've lost quite a few wars, haven't you? That's gotta be it. Oh yeah, that's definitely it. In that case, their colony might just go free, and I wouldn't even mind if that happened. I think our proximity is now far enough to reach reasonably down the St. Lawrence, so we're going to start integrating some of these subjects. As it turns out, moving our capital here was actually the best decision we could make, since it also actually optimizes the proximity for Mannahatta. It only has to make 4 jumps, 1, 2, 3, 4, whereas if we put the capital up here, it would have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at the minimum. Now we can choose our colonial policy. Of course, we'll go with settled colonies. Other than that, the economy's been doing quite well. We've expanded the tax base rapidly, really just building up the new capital quite a bit. The old capital is kind of running out of space to build things, so I'm not too sure how much I want to build at this point. Of course, we could simply try to build up the surrounding areas as well, and I probably will. I think having this entire state just be like a metropolitan area, probably gonna do well for us in, well, at least the short term. Eventually, we'll have roads that'll be good enough that we can build cities pretty much anywhere, but that's not yet. We can now also build shipyards, which is the first step towards us creating a modern navy. For us to actually do that, though, we're going to need these pinnace ships. Hello there, Britain. Surprised actually that Wales still exists. Usually they get integrated pretty early on, but okay. Now we can build these pinnace ships. Although, we can't because we actually don't have tin. I completely forgot about that. Man, best we can do, I guess, is continue exploring, try to make actual contact with a market in Europe that can sell us tin. Probably Britain, if I had to guess. Historically, they did have a bunch of tin. I mean, that's kind of where everyone got their tin from, back in like the classical era. Maybe that was pre-classical. I don't remember. Just to be thorough, we'll increase our trade range and diplomatic range. Oh, right. Yes, Age of Absolutism, Columbian Exchange, all that good stuff. Now, what do we actually want? Definitely the proximity cost. Important country has finally hit the country. Of course, we are going to push towards absolutism. And we're doing that mostly so that we can get a whole bunch of crown power and really start to bump up our income from trade. Now, to finish this off, all we have to do is revoke a bunch of privileges. I think we're going to start by reining in the elites. We'll revoke a few privileges. And then I think we also want to rein in the religious, probably. Like a few privileges. And then once more from the wealthy. Right now, the parliament is really our only way of getting a CB. So I'm thinking we're going to get one on their colony over here. And then we can go ahead and just get started on fighting them. Fortunately, all of this territory has absolutely no forts in it. It's all super easy to siege. Denmark isn't really capable of responding. Now, tragically, this is all we can take. It's really not very much, but it does give me this colony over here. We'll just turn into a subject, and then we can grab this stuff as well. We're going to go in there and rein in the elites again, actually. Revoke their remaining privileges. Oh, right. Forgot about this. It's probably fine. We have a lot of food here, right? We do get a 5th reform. I think we're probably going to go with maybe autocracy just for the absolutism. We'll also swap black chambers for royal decree. Normally when you're doing court and country, you get these events that sort of push you towards absolutism, but we're really not getting those. So we might have to manually change a couple of laws to increase our ability to push towards absolutism. We're going to swap to closed borders, remove some of that liberalism. We are having a slight problem with food. Oh yeah, it's more than a slight problem. Okay, yeah, we need to build more food in the capital. So let's fund farming estates. We'll build up some legumes in here. It's hard to get enough support these days to do anything, but fortunately we do get parliament seats every now and then. So we are going to fabricate another CB against Denmark. We're going to try and take some of the stuff over here. I think Denmark's capital was actually just being occupied by France. So we know they're already not in a good position. See, there we go. There's some absolutism. Kind of ridiculous just how much you have to occupy, but it does seem to be working. We are getting there. Looking at the market, we are definitely going to have to enforce some rationing policies. I was pretty frustrated that I couldn't finish this war with Denmark, and then I realized, oh, actually, we can just peace out with their colony, which is kind of weird, but okay, we'll do it. We'll just grab this as well. Quite a lot of territory. It's also going to be a lot of antagonism, but I don't think it's actually going to be that bad. And then of course we're no longer at war with the colony, so from Denmark we'll just ask for money war reps. We could actually force them to release their colony, but I think that's a bad idea. Doesn't look like we can really put anything else on top of this peace deal, so that's fine with me. Oh, they rejected it. Hold on. That's probably because we pieced out with their subject. There we go. Now, how bad is this? That's pretty bad. Yeah, it's a lot of antagonism from Britain too. I'm sure it'll be fine, probably. Now, this is a lot of territory to manage. It's actually not that much population, but it is all Danish. Okay, all of the territory has been reorganized into new subjects. They each started to get a little bit larger as time went on, but at least, you know, for this one especially, they do have the rivers that allow them to get some proximity all the way down here. Some others, I just kind of gave up. I handed them whatever I could be bothered to give them. The more I look at diplomatic range, the more I just don't understand it. Like, now that I really think about it, we can interact with the colony of Canada, but not with Britain, even though the colony itself mostly acts as just like another part of Britain. It's just a little more autonomous. You'd think that the way that Britain can interact with me through Canada should be reciprocated. Like, we can send messages back to Britain through their colony, presumably. But no, that's not how it works. And it's a little bit annoying. There we go, that should be the last 5 absolutism that we need. Now we can finally end court and country. The state is triumphant. Legitimacy now gives us more crown power. And the estates should be happier, so I can tax them more. I feel like we have cemented our absolutism enough that we don't really need these reforms anymore. We'll replace autocracy with peasant land inheritance, wherever that is. Here we go. With education of the elites, we'll go with education of the people for as much literacy as possible. We've just boosted our trade and colonial range, so now we can take a look at what's over here in the North Sea. We'll also finally be able to reach the London market. As for the rights of the burghers, I think we're probably going to curtail them just so we can increase the maximum tax, since they seem fine, and in exchange, I will grant them an additional privilege. Recently, the economy has experienced a bit of a boom, probably because we can tax the burghers more and we've been building a lot of buildings. Now, we don't necessarily suspect that Britain's going to invade us anytime soon, but if they wanted to, they probably could. So just to deter them, we're going to expand the army a little bit. I guess we can give the nobility a few rights. We'll give them nobility electorate. I don't think this will actually force these succession laws. Probably. Speaking of succession laws, I think we're going to swap out for matrilineal non-exclusive. I think one of the major problems we have with our economy right now is that we really still don't have very good market access. I think it would probably be better for us if we could create another market over here. This only has 22% market access, so I think it's a good candidate. I did also make another market up here as well. Let's grab another CB on this colony of Denmark. We'll go ahead and start taking this stuff over here, and I don't think it's going to be much of an issue to fight them. The colony itself barely has 4,000. I don't even know if I need to use my own troops. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. Now that we can finally reach Europe properly, we can trade with the Bruges market and with the London market. We're going to start importing a whole bunch of tin from the Bruges market, as it seems very cheap in there. And now we can finally build some ships. Okay, maybe not in here. I didn't realize you could actually build ships here. I think we should also start to integrate a few of these subjects over here. Now that we can build ships, we can start building actual presence along the coast. So we're going to start integrating some of our coastal subjects. We can embrace the scientific revolution for pretty cheap. Actually, I've never played this far. What do we really get out of this? We get research speed? Well, we get literacy. That's really useful. And we can actually get another 10% literacy. Ooh, and modern roads. We can also pick up manufactories for a pretty low cost. It's great that these actually do take absolutely forever to conclude. We're going to leave them with this little sliver down here in Florida. We're going to take the rest ourselves and of course divvy it up. Actually, how bad is that antagonism? It's not great, but it could be worse. Close enough. Welcome back to the United States. I tried to make some of these look about as boxy as I could because I thought it would be funny. But really, I'm still trying to optimize for proximity. We'll pick up military revolution as well just to complete the set here. I'm starting to have some trouble passing things in the parliament, so we might actually pick up plutocratic ethos. Having built a whole bunch of these merchant quarters, we're now starting to kind of corner the tobacco market, actually. I think we are the largest producer, definitely the largest trader of tobacco. We've also been able to export stuff like furs, other high-value things. So with all this money, we can start reinvesting back into trade, expanding tobacco. Things are starting to look quite nice. The tax base has gone up quite a bit. And soon enough, I'm actually looking to pick up the grand marketplace as well, so we should be able to increase our exports even further. As for the press laws, we do want to maximize for literacy actually, so I will take the hit to crown power. I think our absolutism will be fine even with this liberalism, so that's not a big problem. Main point is that we need to continue maximizing our literacy. Now, we're going to use this parliament debate to get ourselves another CB against Denmark, of course. Looks like Denmark has learned how to build forts, finally. We've just gotten modern roads, which I think are about as good as a river. So we're not going to see any massive improvements, but we should be able to get at least some improvements in our proximity. This is everything we'll take from Denmark, and we'll just split those into an east and a west side. This might be the least border gore I think I've ever seen in the New World, or actually ever in EU5. To be fair, I have not taken a look at South America. This is bad, but it could be a lot worse. Now, as for the market situation, I think we're going to go over here and try to make another market. Except that you don't actually have any towns. Okay, we'll fix that first. These roads do take a long time to build, but soon enough we should have a solid corridor between the capital and Manhattan. They're also really expensive, so we're going to try to get some more money real quick. We got the new marketplaces, so we're going to go ahead and start upgrading all of the ones that we currently have. At this point, there are very few countries for us to invade, but we might as well go ahead and grab Cahokia. Of course, we'll be taking everything, but we will release them as a fiefdom within the kingdom. The proximity is looking so much better than it used to. We're actually building up maritime presence along the coastline so we can get control all the way out here even. I did for a second kind of consider moving the capital over to Manhattan. And there's a chance that I still might, but probably not anytime soon because I want to start integrating all of these subjects along the coast. Like, once we have these guys along the coast integrated, I might think about it. But for now, the proximity is looking great. Along with, of course, the economy. We have an income of nearly 1,000, putting us pretty high up there, but really nowhere near any of the really developed European nations. In fact, we are still below these colonies. But I think relatively soon we could actually start to challenge Britain. We do have a standing army that when I'm done building it up, like especially when I build more artillery, will actually be larger than Britain's. So even if they do successfully land, then in theory we should be able to contest them. Oh hey, another unique event, what do you know? We can get the administration of Pennsylvania for a while, plus 10% max control. Sure. The alternative is he just kind of dies and we get a few things. Okay, we're taking this. We kind of have another problem. Another problem I didn't exactly anticipate, but I'm doing my best to try and fix. That's the Black Death. Welcome back. Hope you guys are ready for round 2, because round 1 definitely wasn't bad enough. My bad, things were starting to become too prosperous. Yep, 100,000 dead in a month. This is amazing. Oh, man. Ooh, 300,000 dead in a month. Those are rookie numbers, come on, gotta get those numbers up. Waiter, another hit of the plague, please. Well, I guess that's that. Yeah, I think I'm gonna call it there for today. You know, we had a pretty good run. We did pretty alright. I just don't have the patience to play this game anymore. That's cool. Alright, well, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. There probably won't be a part 3. I wonder if you can guess why. And despite having my soul crushed flat in the last 5 minutes, you know I'm going to be back on this game in the next week or two. So, more videos for EU5 coming out soon. Be sure to subscribe to make sure you don't miss them. But, yeah, I'm signing off. Have a good one. Big thank you to the patrons for this month. Everybody here does get early access to videos for as low as $1, but I'd like to give a special thank you to those who decide to donate more. So thank you, Erica, Born to Dunk, Gallo4, Gorka Maistegi, Licka Becker, Michael Sample, Nick Steffel, Princess Rhea, Q-Brute, Spyro, Tillman Augustin, AG Ferrero, Ben Mottram, Quiet Guy, Rosset, Ambient Cyan, Elysia Tuts, James Levy, Luke78776, Stalin DLRP, and Robert.